Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, and all those terrible Jay and Silent Bob type pictures, man. You're listening to Drop the Mic, the only podcast that I listen to that I'm not a part of. Every podcast I listen to, I usually talk on it, but not fucking Drop the Mic. That's where I'm like, let me hear what the boys have to say. And now, we drop the mic.
There's a word in Korean, 인연. It means providence or fate.
Do you believe in that?
That's just something Koreans say to seduce someone.
What a good story this is. Childhood sweethearts who reconnect 20 years later and realize they were meant for each other. In the story, I would be the evil white American husband standing in the way of destiny.
Shut up. He was just this kid in my head for such a long time. I think I just missed him.
Did he miss you?
Welcome back to our humble San Diego podcast. We're your hosts, Wesley Swanson and Ryan Jimenez, and together we are Drop the Mic. This is episode 339, called Meet Me in Montauk, where we will be revisiting the A24 film Past Lives. But first, let's get warmed up, shall we? What's up, man? How are you? Welcome back.
What's up? How's it going? It's good to be back. We took a little break. A week or two.
Yes.
We were both really busy. You jet setting everywhere, and me being bitch slapped at work.
Holiday retail is no joke.
No, holidays for you ain't no joke either, fool.
That's true. That's true.
This will be doing everything.
Yeah.
He can probably build you a house, and he don't got fucking just learning on the fly and shit.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
And now for a special news report. Brought to you by Drop the Mic.
Caitlin Dever is reportedly in talks to play Abby in The Last of Us Season 2. If you're not familiar with her, she was in, what's that Hulu movie? Alien one that just came out. Shit. I loved it. No One Can Save You?
Yes.
Yeah. She was fucking awesome in that. So I think she can pull it up, dude. That's a pretty big role for someone to take on, and I know even psychologically it's going to be pretty tough.
Is she 100% that she's locked in?
I don't think she's 100% locked in yet. There's just rumors and reports saying that they're in talks with her.
Because I saw, I think it's just like who the fans want cast, but they were saying Florence Pugh would be really cool. And I could see that. Maybe.
I could see that too. Do you think she's too old, though?
Oh, yeah. As opposed...
I mean, she does look the part, though, dude. Like,
yeah.
I know she doesn't look old, obviously, but she does look the part. Like she just
put on,
like badass.
If she just put on like a little bit of muscle, you know?
Yeah. I didn't hear that one, though. That's actually fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whichever way they go, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna kick ass. What next? Just a couple hours ago, news broke that Timothy Oliphant has been cast in a major role for Noah Hawley's Alien series. So that's badass. I fucking love him.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything since what is it? That show with Drew Barrymore, right?
He was in The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
He was badass in that. Everything he does is fucking good, dude.
Mickey.
He's just like, what's his name? Like I said. I just got what's his name from Killers of the Flower Moon? If you see a movie with him or showing with him in it, you know it's going to be badass and it's going to be good.
Jesse Plemons?
Yeah, Jesse Plemons. And then moving on, apparently Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are set to star in a new Karate Kid movie.
Yeah, that was part of my news, and I was kind of like, I had read about that sometime last year, and I was kind of like, all right, but I know you haven't dove into Cobra Kai, but Cobra Kai is already so good in my opinion. So I'm like, well, okay, are they going to finish out like the series with a movie? If so, like, how does Jackie Chan come in? But I guess it kind of makes sense because each season of the show they're bringing in they bring in somebody from a past film to be like,
okay.
Not necessarily the villain, but villains do have a part in it or whatever, but they'll bring people from that you recognize from the OG the OG movies. So including that the reboot is actually kind of genius. I've heard back and forth things that it's not going to be affiliated with Cobra Kai, but then I also read, I think it was today or yesterday, that they have in fact brought aboard the creators of Cobra Kai as consultants on this new movie or whatever. So pretty interesting stuff. And dude, you need to watch Cobra Kai. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know. I have to watch it, and but I do hope it. I do hope it has something to do with it, because everyone I hear from, including you, everybody says that show is fucking awesome. So it would do it justice by, attaching Jackie and then kind of just continuing that story. Because the series is it ending soon?
Yeah, I believe they are gonna do one more season, and then it's supposed to be done. And also, let me just say how fucking good Ralph Macchio looks for 60 something.
Yeah, he's getting up there. So I don't have that much news. I just have one more little big humongous piece of news.
Okay.
But Saturday night Survivor Series, CM Punk came back to WWE and blew everyone's fucking mind. Probably the biggest news in recent memory, that since probably he came back to AEW. This is 10 times bigger than Edge going to AEW. But it's a huge thing for wrestling. We were talking kind of off air about it, but it's gonna send tidal waves across both AEW and WWE. Story wise, money wise, and then the biggest thing I think it's gonna do is, I think you're gonna get a lot of those AEW people jumping ship. Just because they see how well Cody's doing, how Punk's doing, and not only that, they got Jade Cargill too, and she's gonna be a fucking megastar. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. And I know all three of those people that I mentioned from AEW to going to WWE. It's gonna be interesting to see who else, jump ship. But it's a crazy time that CM Punk is back in WWE. He's my favorite next Eddie Guerrero. He's the reason why I got back into wrestling the second time. He was the reason why I got back into wrestling like before he left WWE. So cool times, dude. I cannot. I wish I would have recorded my reaction, because I yelled and jumped out of bed faster and louder than I ever have. I think I was out of breath. I was fucking crying. It's a good time. Good time to be a wrestling fan.
Can I ask you I know what your answer is going to be, but I want to ask you anyway. What are your thoughts on Matt Riddle commenting on Punk coming back? Did you read that yet?
I did read it. Dude, he just, I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off right now. Because this is how I think. First off, bro, instead of tweeting at CM Punk or WWE, he needs to better himself. He has some serious allegations against him, and WWE tried to work with him. And one, he either couldn't stay clean, or he couldn't keep his hands off of women. And I don't know about you. I know the rest of the world knows. I don't think CM Punk has ever caught a charge like that ever, right?
Nope.
It goes to the same for like I don't know if you. I'm sure I don't know if you know who she is, or I know a lot of like wrestling fans know who she is, but Matt Hardy's wife Matt Hardy and his wife have like this big thing against Punk, right? And she like continues to like talk shit on Punk when he was fired for the first time from AEW, when they brought him back, and then when he was fired again. She went off on TikToks and on Twitter. And again, that's all fine, dude. Like, you have something against him, whatever, personally, whatever. But both of those people, and I love the Hardys, but Matt and his wife have no room to talk, to place blame on anybody, to talk shit on anybody when they're both abusers. You just don't get that right, dude. And it might be the Punk fan in me, or, you know, but at the end of the day, he's never abused anybody. He minds his fucking business. And yeah, he can be a shithead sometimes, but you know what? That's what brings him the money. So, going back to Riddle, I hope he gets the fucking help he gets, but at the end of the day, dog, you need to keep your mouth shut.
I wasn't aware of the, that's why they let him go.
Most people, yeah, dude. The abuse allegations, they kept him. You know, there's a lot of wrestlers in WWE and AEW that have those allegations or have been committed, or even served time for stuff like that, and they keep these wrestlers on, which is whatever. But you can't be talking like that, dude, and knowing you got shit going on. And I saw all the replies on that tweet, and it was literally the same thing. Like, dude, you have no room to talk.
Damn, wild stuff.
But that is all my news. Sorry for going on a rant about my boy and protecting my boy.
That's okay. I thought it was ingenious because they put the little trademark for Survivor Series, and you're thinking, yeah, this is done. No, nothing special is going to happen, and then his fucking music comes on.
And you know what was one of the giveaways is, like, even throughout those hours, all the wrestling journalists I follow and everyone who covers wrestling were all saying like they hadn't heard nothing from any of the sources. No one fucking knew. Which lines up with Triple H saying no one knew except for him and the CEO of TKO, who owns WWE and UFC. And my favorite thing about that is like what you just said, like the surprise. It wasn't ruined by no one. Like when Cody Rhodes came to WWE, that was the big rumor, right? Literally no one knew. And I checked my phone maybe a minute or two before that happened. And one of the writers was like, shit, I changed my mind. I just heard something. So they kept it a secret for so fucking long, up to the minute where no one knew. Like, no one knew. Not even, from what I heard, from what I read, just the talent in the ring knew. Like, right before they went on for that main event, they knew the people in the ring that were going to be in the ring. They pulled them aside and they knew.
Okay, so Orton and everyone knew.
Everybody knew. And Michael Cole knew. But there was head writers, the production team in the trucks. There's video, they just released video of the production team and a couple of the hosts of one of the WWE online shows. They didn't even know. So when his music hit, they were just as blown away as everybody else.
Okay, I have two pieces of news, excluding the big one that we're going to talk about at the end. Toy Story 5 is happening, and Tom Hanks and Tim Allen will officially return for this next outing. How do you feel about them doing another one?
I think we've talked about this before, where like 3 was like so perfect and ended so well, and then we were, especially me, was like, man, do we really need 4? And then that was really good. And I'm gonna say the same thing. Like, do we really need 5? Like, those 2 movies were like, the third one was such a good ending for Andy, and the fourth one was such a good ending for the toys, right? Like, they were perfect.
At this point, it's like, why you guys probably should do a mini series or something. It's okay. In your opinion, do you think that this is now turning into a cash grab? Because it seems like everyone, they're like, there's going to be no more, and then, you know,
I definitely can see that, but it's not like the Fast and the Furious, right? Where that is just literally a cash grab. Like, those movies are fucking terrible. These movies, like 3 and 4, were actually really good, right?
yeah, and they're very good at outdoing themselves somehow, you know.
Yes. Something that I don't think I've read, or have you read anything about like what it might be about?
There's contemplation where they are saying that they want it to be like that. Andy has a family, and that he's now looking for his childhood toys. So I don't know if that means he's going to go back to the girl that he gave him to in the last one. And then Woody is missing. So how is that going to work? So it'll be interesting how they kind of bring it all together. But as far as I know, it's supposed to be like about Andy being an adult.
See, that makes that. If they were to come out and like say, okay, the 5th one is it. This is it. No more. And if they went with that story, everything would kind of be. I mean, we've had endings, but you know, it would make it kind of full circle, right? Like them going back to where they belong with Andy and his family. So I could see that working, but like we just said, dude, they always tend to outdo themselves. So hopefully they do it for the 5th one.
Into more sequel news, apparently, Creed 4 is also on the way, with Michael B. Jordan not only starring, back in the director's chair. Did you see the third?
I haven't seen the third. It's on my list of movies to watch before the year ends. I'm trying to consume all this fucking media, Wes.
All right.
There's not enough hours in not enough time in our life to consume all the media we want. But yeah, no, I definitely want to see it because I've heard good things about it, and I've heard good things about his direction. Do you think Stallone will come back, or that's still a no?
So, the last I heard about that is that Michael B. Jordan and Stallone, their relationship is solid. They're good, and it has to do with the guy who owns the rights to Rocky and all of that franchise. I guess Stallone has some major beef with him and is refusing to come back until he no longer has like the final say. And he's said, and I think more than one interview where he's like, as soon as that guy's out, I'll come back. I don't care. I'll come back. But while he's in charge, like it's a no-go. So I could go on and say like, do we really need another one? But I mean, it kind of makes sense because there's a lot of Rocky sequels. So it's kind of like the next generation of those kind of mainstay boxing movies, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm assuming what you left out for me to talk about is the whole Scream controversy.
Yes.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah. Yes.
Wild stuff. It happened a few days ago now. The Spyglass Media and Paramount released Melissa Barrera from Scream 7. And it was a pretty wild reaction and you know, pretty sad as a longtime fans of the franchise, you and I, you know. And then the next day, Jenna Ortega leaves, stating that she was going to be busy with Wednesday season 2. Very peculiar timing with that. And now we know that I guess the writers have thrown out their the script that they had been working on, the original script for Scream 7, and now they're writing something completely different and are looking to bring back Neve Campbell and Patrick Dempsey as the couple unit from Scream 3 that are also mentioned, I think, in the last one, in 6.
Mm-hmm.
Very quickly. Thoughts on this, even though I already know?
I mean, it's just, man, there's so much to unpack here, and it obviously it sucks for the the film and the franchise because it was going in such a good direction. But most importantly, dude, for what she was talking about and what she was speaking up on, for her to lose her job, it is complete bullshit. If you follow us on social media, or Wes or I, obviously we haven't done with the show, but you know our stance on that stuff, and you know if you're listening to the show, I'm pretty sure you're pretty much backing what she said and what the entire world is saying, and for her to be just fired for, like I said, dude, I'll continue to say bullshit. It is ridiculous, and like the Scream part isn't even the bigger picture. It's having her voice silenced, having a brown woman's voice silenced over what she feels is right and what we know is right is the worst. And her post after she was fired was worded perfectly, and I'm sure 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we'll look back at this time and people doing that types of stuff, speaking out for black and brown people, it's gonna be crazy to look at 30 or 40 years from now, and seeing what they were. But she's not the only one, right? Wasn't Susan Sarandon dropped by her
talent agency?
Her talent agency too. So,
but
it definitely sucks, dude.
It's it's kind of it's also kind of strange, bizarre that these are, two women that are being reprimanded for essentially just displaying their opinion,
And especially Melissa's, because there was no hate in her message at all.
No.
And when you're speaking out, especially about something like that, no one is spewing any type of hate. If you're like we talked about off air, dude, and I'll say it right now. Just because you're pro-Palestine doesn't mean you're being an anti-Semite, dude. It means that you just fucking care about people and the lives of people and the, what's happening there. And she worded it perfectly. Like even like when the news broke and I went and I was like, what the fuck? Like they basically saying like, that's what she was saying. And I went and you read all her stuff and it's like, they just made something up.
Yeah. Because even if you go back and you read her response to what happened to her, it's pure class. There's no hate. There's no lashing out. Like you said, on the right side of history.
Yeah, that's all it is, dude. All we can do is just like her, is we can just continue to support that cause and speak up and say things. And it might not seem like, this is me even talking to people listening right now, like it might not seem like that's a big deal, like that's big, or I've even heard things like, me personally, like I'm staying away from companies that are a part of that, the other side. And I've heard, things being said like, that's not doing anything. It doesn't matter if it's doing anything or not. You're doing what you're doing what you think is best. And if you're listening to this and you have you haven't spoken out or anything like that, that's perfectly fine. But don't be afraid to speak out.
And now it's time for the weekly recommendations.
So, I finally watched Oppenheimer. It took me forever. I went out the day of and bought it. I should have grabbed that 4K because the 4K, I guess, is selling out everywhere and it's very hard to find. But I got the Blu-ray, and man, like I told you off air, dude, I think this might be his best. I really do. It is, and you know what's crazy is it's 3 hours, but the pacing of it is fucking perfect.
Doesn't feel it. It doesn't feel like it.
It feels like fucking 2 hours, dude. It could have went on for fucking 5 hours and I would have been fine. It's that good. And I was a little skeptical because of that runtime. It's the same reason why I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet, because I don't really want to go and sit in the theater for 3.5 hours. I just, man, everything about it, dude. And I told you this off air as well, but what I love about Nolan the most is, like, out of everyone in his cast, even if you have a minute or two, and Nolan's great for giving you those, oh shit, he's in this movie or she's in this movie. He gets the very fucking best out of his cast. And every single buddy is fucking, even Josh Peck is fucking good, dude.
Yeah, he is.
Everyone that's in that movie is perfect. And I know I think I read somewhere where Robert Downey Jr. said that he thinks this is like his best role, and it fucking is, dude. Because he is fucking forcing it.
Give that man an Oscar.
Yeah. That if man, there's a lot of supporting this year, and obviously Ryan Gosling is someone that I really want to fucking win that Oscar. But goddamn, dude, it's gonna be hard to take it away from fucking Robert Downey Jr. I don't see how we're gonna get into past lives, but I don't see how Oppenheimer. I don't see how it doesn't fucking take everything, dude.
Especially because I think that it is very much like a movie that caters to the Academy. Like, that's what the type of shit they're looking for, you know?
Yes. And it's also insane, dude, that it made $950 million. A biopic that's 3 hours long. Like, there aren't too many people that can do that. And he fucking did it.
I mean, look at to compare it to something that's out right now, modern, Napoleon. Now, it might be making money because it's Ridley Scott and Joaquin Phoenix, who's hugely bankable right now. But critically, man, it's being panned.
Yeah, it is.
It's nowhere near on the level of love that Oppenheimer got, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's not even take away the Barbenheimer hype and shit, but I'm talking about just Oppenheimer by itself. Like, Napoleon is very, like, it's pandering in its shadow in a lot of ways. So I agree with you completely.
I have been playing a lot of Alan Wake 2. And it might be one of my favorite pieces of media, like, across the board. From everything I've read this year, everything I've watched, everything I've played, all the music I've listened to. It's perfect, dude. It is kind of insane that they're doing what they're doing, and they did what they did. It blends live action and CGI and you playing the video game so damn well. I've never seen it before. If you're a fan of the first one, you're gonna love this one. I would say that if you're a fan of the first one and you haven't played the first one recently, there is a kind of like what's it called, like a recap, but maybe go on YouTube and kind of like watch someone talk about the story of the first one, because it's like the direct sequel. Yeah, man, I can't. I haven't played Baldur's Gate yet. That's something I want to play after this. I know it's an RPG. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Baldur's Gate, yeah, my sister's super into that.
It's fucking turn-based, Dungeon and Dragon style, dice fucking RPG game. People are saying that that's the game of the year. That's gonna win game of the year in a couple weeks at the award show. And obviously we both played Spider-Man. I haven't played Zelda or the new Mario, but man, this game is Alan Wake 2 is what I always say, dude. It's the reason why we play video games. And it does, you know what, too, is I don't think I've felt, there's tons of things that have come out in next gen and everything must look beautiful, but nothing has really like shit. Like, this is fucking next. Even Spider-Man. Spider-Man was, obviously, it's massive and that wouldn't work on the PS4, but this feels like a game like they could never do this. You wouldn't be able to do this on last gen.
All right, cool. I have a couple for you. One, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be. You can't. Hopefully, you don't get mad at me for this. But so I went to Boston recently, and I know this movie takes place in Plymouth, Massachusetts. We visited Salem specifically, and we found a little indie theater over there, and we checked out Thanksgiving. And I know you have a gripe with this filmmaker, so I won't say his name. But I'm going to tell you, man, Thanksgiving is it's a hell of a throwback, fun little smart slasher, dude. And a homage to 80s slasher cinema. And it fucking fires on all cylinders. It's funny. It's gnarly with the kills. And it is it has some like pretty great commentary on consumerism. I was very impressed, especially going back to the fact that this is based on a mock trailer that we got 16 years ago in the Rodriguez Tarantino double feature for Grindhouse. Very, very good stuff.
I get to decide if I'm going to go see it still. I've heard good things about it. Everybody I've read on everything I've read on Twitter and everyone else I know, they say it's great. But maybe I'll wait until it comes to streaming or something like that. But
I do believe it has the potential to be the next big iconic slasher, and somewhat of a tradition for that holiday.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
I know you've been foaming at the mouth to talk about this since you went to see it.
I have. I really have been. I've been like a rabid animal.
All right, man. Ready to dive in?
Let's get into it.
So our movie focus of the week is brought to you by Ryan. It's called Past Lives. It's rated PG-13. It's from 2023, earlier this year. It's a drama. It runs at 1 hour and 46 minutes, and it's got a very, very impressive 97 on Rotten. It was written and directed by Celine Song, starring Greta Lee, Teo Yo, and John Majaro. The film follows the lives of two Korean friends over the span of 24 years, displaying the different paths that fate has sent them on. Past Lives is writer-director Celine Song's first feature-length film. Coming from a playwright background, Song absolutely nails her first outing behind the camera with this extremely thoughtful and realistic take on reminiscing about the past and what could have been. The characters are very soft and a bit muted with their dialogue, giving us plenty of nuanced backstory and filling just with their expressions throughout the different stages of their lives. Greta Lee, who portrays Nora Young, does a superb job with realizing her character bringing much of the conflict with wondering about the life she could have potentially lived out had her family not moved from South Korea to Canada while she was a child. Seo Young, who portrays Ha Sung, brings a sadness to his character, ultimately being the one left behind by his once childhood sweetheart. With Sung shooting his shot and visiting Nora several years later in New York City, we are witness to some inner conflict and boundaries, with Nora now being happily married and coming to terms with how she had strayed away from her own culture in favor of a prominent career in America. Framed and shot brilliantly on 35mm by Shabir Kirshner, and with a score composed by Daniel Rosen and Christopher Bear, Past Lives, A24, and Celine Sung come together to reinvent what a romance film can be or even represent, not falling into the usual formula of a rom-com or your standard love triangle flick. Premiering at the Sundance Film Festival on January 21st, 2023, and opening in the U.S. on June 2nd, 2023, the film was met with widespread praise, earning $19.9 million at the box office against its $12 million budget. Sometimes you have to close a door to open a window. 3 Inyuns out of 5. Thank you.
We're going to talk about your rating later. But other than that, bravo.
All right, Ryan.
Yes.
I want to know what is so heavy hitting about this film for you. I know you went to see it in the theater, I believe alone, at a very specific time in your life. Do you think that this played a part in your connection with this film?
I definitely do. It's one of those, I think we talked about it with The Sound of Metal, and this movie is like that for me. It's one of those movies that sits with you for a while, and this movie is probably going to sit with me for, I think the rest of my life, man. It did come out, and I did see it, and it did come out at a time in my life where I was not in the maybe greatest mental state, I guess, going through a lot of things in my personal life, and that's another, obviously, that's, like I said, that's a reason why I connected with it so much as I did. For this being Celine Song's very first movie, writing, directing, it's kind of crazy. You hit on it in your write up, but just the themes of love and longing for someone, or even not even romantically, just in general, and then loneliness and it's theme of like drifting apart from someone is very, especially with people who have been in those situations, it's kind of haunting. And again, like you said in your write-up, everything about it, her direction, cinematography, and Baron Rosen's their score, it just so beautifully soft, and it's honestly a movie, I think, for the ages. It's definitely going to be looked back at a movie that I think changed the way you can do a movie with those themes and those ideas.
Absolutely agree. It's very much on brand for A24, where it's like they're elevating other genres,
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting super interesting, because especially taking into account that this is semi autobiographical of the filmmaker, Celine Song, who kind of went through this, and I feel like that really seeps into the pages of this script, and it brings another dynamic when you know, like, oh, this shit really went down. And as you go on the journey, and then towards the end, that's what's as you said before, because this is a movie that I watched specifically for the show. I didn't get to see it in the theater, and I actually, funny enough, coming back from my trip, they had it available to stream on the plane, so I watched it in preparation for the show. I was like, I'm probably not going to get this chance to watch this movie in this setting ever again. So why not, And then I did, and it was definitely not a bad experience, but off-putting, because you're just like completely gutted in such a way that is unusual. And at first, when I told you, I was like, and I'm sure you remember this vividly, but I was like, dude, it's missing all the spicy stuff, Like, what's going on? Where's all the drama, And then your response, it kind of really had me self-reflect, and I realized that's the point. Is this movie is representing what it means to tackle these things in life from a healthy aspect, where your two lead characters, they're not doing anything. There's a certain maturity level there, and even with Arthur, they could have wrote him as a prick, because he's like the kind of outsider that's coming in and is the variable that's keeping, essentially kind of keeping them from getting together how they've always wanted. But they write even Arthur from a place of empathy, and they make you like him and fall for him as well. So I thought that was really awesome that you kind of had me reevaluate or reinterpret this story.
Like I said, dude, it's you kind of have to look at it like how I said it. This doesn't have to be, in life. We're all we want to do in life is make connections with people, right? Whether that be romantic or whether it be not, Yeah. You have people coming in and out of your life, and we've all had that. Whether, like I said, whether it be romantic or not, I've had friends coming in and out of my life where I honestly, to right now, I'm telling you, and I can tell you that I've had best friends come out of my go out of my life, and I wonder how our relationship would be now. And I miss them as much as I would miss someone who I dated or I loved before. And that's, I think, the point that it's trying to get across. And you're right, Arthur, his character is, you would think that his character would be written like that, right? Like a fucking asshole. But it's not what the movie is trying to do. And he's written just like everything else, and I'm gonna continue to say it because that's how I feel when I watch this movie up to the very end. Very, obviously mature and just soft and understanding, and he didn't have to be that way. And there's times in the movie where he kind of, I think he even tells Nora, like, do you think he's good looking?
He even says, he's like, it's not like you're gonna run away with him or something, right?
Yeah.
And that's as far as it goes. And it's just almost like a reassurance thing. But he never crosses that boundary into making her intentionally feel bad or abuse, and that's where I think watching the trailer, they lead you to believe there's going to be this big kind of blowout or possibly like some like huge conflict, the way that these type of movies tend to have. And it's almost kind of like writing against cliches completely. And that's something that I can super respect from this. And I think that it's going to give it its longevity, and that's why it's kind of like a huge success with both critics and fans, where we were both like on this equal plane of like, yeah, this is masterful. And to think that this is Celine's first film ever, and to come at it from a perspective of like such grace and ease, and like when you watch this, it feels like a seasoned director who's done 8 or 9 films easy, and she hasn't. So it makes me, as a film lover, be super interested in seeing like what is she going to tackle next. I just wanted to point out that even the way that the film starts is incredible, where you're seeing them essentially at what is the end of the film, where they're at this bar like early in the morning / late at night having this conversation, and you're hearing like spectators around from the other side of the bar talking about what is the connection between these three, and they're kind of contemplating of like, is Arthur their tourist, or like they're, the 2 Korean people, or the couple. Like, it's just like this kind of outsider perspective. And then you get Greta Lee break the fourth wall and look straight at the camera, and then the story starts or whatever. I thought that was a pretty magnificent way to kind of open your I don't know, it's on another level, man. A24, dude. Super.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I remember dude, the theater I went to, first off, it was a big theater. Like I walked in, I'm like, why would they put this fucking movie in this bigger theater? Legit, dude, just me, is a younger girl in front of me, and these 2 older like ladies in front of me. That's it. And I walked out, I was fucking like wiping the tears out of my eyes. The girl in front of me was like ugly crying, and the 2 ladies to the side of me were, honestly, it looked like they were like comforting themselves, like the both of them. It's just incredible, dude. And it's like I said, we've kind of hit these 2 movies back to back, with Sound of Metal and this. This is the reason why we love movies. It's the reason why we do this show for every week for an hour and a half. This is the type of movie that I love. Like, that isn't just, it's fucking life-changing in the fact that it makes you think about things differently, and definitely is my this is my number one. This is my favorite movie of the year because of all the things I said. And obviously obviously I'm gonna kind of, I fell in love with it more. And obviously you appreciate it and you get where I'm coming from, but you're not gonna obviously be we're not in the same shoes, we were going through 2 different things. I was going through what I was going through when I saw it, so that's another reason why I love it so much. And that's fine, that's okay. But I definitely believe that this should be on everyone's top 10 list. Everyone should check it out, because I think that a lot of people still haven't. It's kind of flying under the radar. And it's a big year for movies, dude. And like we were talking about Oppenheimer, I really hope Celine gets nominated for director or at least screenplay, dude. Because writer, it's incredible. This is her first time.
I would be very surprised if it doesn't get nominated for at least a few different categories, seeing as Sound of Metal was recognized. I would hope that they are going to do the same for Celine, because it is very, very deserving of that. It's a masterful film, and something that is another thing to appreciate about it is you don't have to be like an immigrant to understand the story or find a relationship with it and yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the tone and the themes are universal, and there's something I think for everyone to find in this that they're going to relate back to a certain point in their lives, I would say.
Yeah, dude. We've all loved and we've all lost, and we've all felt that grief, and some of us leave that grief behind, and some of us kind of, I think, not some of us, I think all of us, if you've experienced any type of grief, it kind of you just kind of learn to live with it. And I think at the end of the movie, we haven't really talked about the end, but I think that's what happens. And I think that's why it's just like I was telling you before, like it just, everything is so soft and beautiful, and then at the end, and the end scene and what happens and what's happening in that scene is just incredibly heartbreaking and like earth shattering, you know, universe shattering. if we're talking about the movie, I don't think. I also think that Arthur's character was written the way it was, especially how well he takes at the very end. At the very end when they say goodbye, to show people that you can be, even in the kind of most awkward of situations, and kind of situations like he even says like he never thought he would be in that situation. You can be what is that word I'm trying to look for?
That you're able as a man to take the high road. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to play into this like machista culture that I feel like we have, especially.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's kind of crazy. It's not saying like we were saying, he has his some of the things he says. Yeah, I think we would all say, and we in relationships we've all said and all thought, because you're lying to yourself if you say that you've never been insecure about something, So Arthur's character is that reminder that it doesn't have to be like that. And if you're ever in his shoes, and you have something going on like that, it doesn't even have to be that to an extent that you can be understanding.
So the interesting thing about Arthur is that him and Nora are in a interracial marriage, and he kind of brings this up in the way where they're in bed, right, in the middle of the movie, and he says like, I've always thought it was so cute that when you dream, like you're not speaking in English, you speak in Korean, like your native language. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that, and that's almost like him revealing like his insecurities, and that plays into, I think, his like he is a little nervous about Ha Sung, coming and making all this effort to find her in New York, because it's almost like him realizing like there is always going to be that disconnection between me and my wife, and this guy has the upper hand, and I think that's natural, but it's how you're able to navigate through that which makes you either a shitty person or a good person. And fortunately for Arthur, he's able to, like you said, take the high road, and it works out for him in the end by not
That's
being...
one of my favorite quotes in the movie, what he tells her. Yeah, man, I can't wait. I can't wait till hopefully someone presses this score on vinyl, because I'll be the first one in line to buy it in my room, and then I'll be just playing it for that day in my room, crying in the fetal position.
Can I ask, has Sandy seen this yet, or did you go see it again?
She saw it. I think the tears were rolling down her eyes at the end of it.
as I'm sure everyone was that has that's not dead inside, right?
Yeah, dude. That final scene, man, is it's so funny because this movie is probably going to turn into one of those movies. Is like one of my comfort movies. And probably every time I watch it, I'm gonna have the same reaction at the end.
It's gonna be your new Crazy Stupid Love, right?
I don't think anything is gonna be my Crazy Stupid Love. That movie. I'll tell you what. That Crazy Stupid Love is a movie that I'll put on all the time, like no matter what. If I'm happy, if I'm sad, like fucking, I'm gonna put Crazy Stupid Love on, or I'm gonna have in the background.
You're like, when I'm working, I just put on the audio and I listen to the audio of Crazy Stupid Love while I'm in the fridge, dude.
What do you think about that? From her perspective and from his perspective and from Arthur's perspective?
I thought it was awesome because you finally see her bring down that wall that she clearly had up, where she's very stoic throughout the entire thing and is very hesitant to show any real kind of emotion. And then we finally get it in the final frames as she's going back to Arthur and going up the steps, and she breaks down, you know. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of this is like occupational, like job based, as her or Sung were really willing to invest in each other rather than their career. I feel like they were very much on different paths and were like, no, we're not going to see each other like until like a year or two. Like this needs to stop, you know, with the Skype calls and everything. And I feel like that's why this, whatever they had, kind of flounders in a way. It's just not the right time. Like maybe they were the right people, but it wasn't the right time. But I don't mean to steal your question. What does the ending mean to you, or how did you interpret it?
I interpret it the same way. I feel like that at the end you finally get her emotions that you had been waiting for the entire film, right? The entire film you're kind of waiting, like, man, show something, you know. And she kind of doesn't, and she has her reason. And and at the end, when he leaves, it all comes, you know, it all comes out of her. All the emotions come out of her, and she falls in Arthur's arms, and it's just a beautiful scene of her realizing, not even realizing, of her kind of knowing, you know, from what I think, just how I'm reading it, you know, kind of knowing that that's the last time she's ever going to see him. It's heartbreaking to think that, on top of the fact that he just never found the right time. And on the flip side of it, on Arthur's side, it's beautiful because he's understanding of that, and he he's letting her let all those emotions out because he loves her. And on
Ha-sung,
I think he went for closure, and he got it. And that last scene of him driving off is kind of like that in the beginning, when she's sitting right next to him and their kids, and he's looking off into the sunset, and then flash forward and it's the same thing, and he kind of doesn't really have like a smile on his face, but you could tell that it's what he needed, and that he's happy that he got that closure.
Yeah, I think for some people you need that, whether it be for better or for worse, you need it to move on in life and pursue other things, it really does help. And I like that kind of incorporating that the culture of that like philosophy of in Yoon, where it's like maybe we're not working out in this life because we were already together in a past life. Super fascinating stuff, because they're in one of the conversations towards the end of the film, they're kind of going back and forth and cracking jokes about what they could have been to each other for them to come to this point in this life. It's pretty sad, but I mean, pretty genius.
I think it's super sad to think about, and they're just sitting there talking over drinks about it, and you're kind of watching it like, Jesus Christ, this is kind of getting really sad, and they don't seem to be sad about it. Like I said, I can't say anything better about this movie, man. It's to me, it's the perfect film, and I really hope everyone goes and watches it and buys it and streams it, and hopefully the Academy and the Globes, they give it all the awards, at least the nominations, because I definitely think it deserves it. It's gonna be tough beating out Nolan and Scorsese for everything, though.
Did you know that Celine Song, she didn't allow Sung or Arthur to meet each other until they're seen together for the first time on film?
I did not know that. That's fucking incredible.
So when
now that I'm like, it kind of looks like that scene really feels like they're meeting for the first time.
Yeah,
like you can tell.
Yeah, she didn't allow them to practice or do anything. So all of that shit is organic.
Again, dude. First full feature length and writing credit, and she does this.
I guess the purpose behind that is that she didn't want them to create this same chemistry knowing too much about each other, so she wanted Sung's chemistry with Nora to be its own thing, and then her chemistry with Arthur to be completely different. And I feel like that it worked, right? Because it's like two completely different relationships or viewpoints, especially when you see them separate on screen, like how they interact with each other or whatever. And then going back to the kid actors, I guess Celine was able to pick the young girl that we see on film right away, but then she had, I think it was 3 kids for the boy to come in and do readings so that they were able to get the chemistry right. And then the one that she ended up picking that we saw in the film made the little girl cry with when he was like, I guess she had her read the lines where it's like, can you please, like, don't leave, like, and continue to be my friend or whatever. And how he delivered that to this little girl, he made her cry or whatever, and then ask Celine, like, is my character going to have to really leave Korea? Like, is that something that I'm going to have to do? And she was like, well, your character, yes, but not you. Like, you're able to stay or whatever. But I thought that was crazy.
That's awesome. Damn.
I think that she was able to, like, capture that Sunrise trilogy that Richard Linklater did. I don't know if you've seen those films or if you're aware of them. I feel like yeah, she totally tapped into that minimalist style and just executed it on her own terms incredibly well.
You said something in the beginning, and I hadn't thought about that, but A24 has been elevating everything, and now they're elevating this type of genre of film.
Yeah, because if you think about it, they were known for a while for like horror, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's slowly like you have like shit like Uncut Gems, which is I don't know what you would call that, like a crime drama, I guess. Completely elevated.
Elevated, yeah. Speaking of Uncut Gems and going back to Oppenheimer, what the fuck, bro? He's even good in it.
Yeah.
William the Safdies is just the fucking awesome in it.
Too too talented, I guess. God, I wish you could have saw the explosion on the big screen though, because it's pretty fucking loud.
I can only imagine. I'm sure that I'll be able to see it.
They'll bring it back at some point, whatever anniversary or something. Okay, I know you had you weren't wild on my rating. What's your rating for this? A perfect 5 out of 5?
Oh yeah, dude, this is 5 out of 5 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is. I think if I'm looking like at my letterbox, this is like the only movie I've. Oppenheimer, I gave it 4, but like thinking about it, I'm gonna go back and change it to 4.5. Barbie's at 4.5. There's still a good amount of movies that I need to see. I need to see The Killer. I know it's been getting shit on, but I really do need to see Napoleon, dude.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm not going to see it. I'm just kind of like, and you know, I love Ridley Scott, but sometimes he does some stinkers, you know.
I know. Yes, that I know.
And I want to know, a big thing I want to know is why the fuck doesn't Joaquin Phoenix have a friend? Why doesn't he have an accent?
It's fucking Ridley Scott, bro. Like people have been asking him those questions, like the historical accuracy of this movie is like in the dumpster, and he's like in his interviews he's just like oh well.
Yeah, I seen when he's like when people ask me why all of these historical inaccuracies, I look at them, I say, hey mate, were you there? Were you alive at that time? No? Well, okay, well then shut the fuck up. And I can appreciate that, him taking some creative liberties, of course, you know, embellishments and whatever he did with Gladiator. Gladiator is a fucking perfect movie, and it's historically inaccurate. It doesn't matter. It's still a good movie, right? But over, like, not including the accent is a huge oversight for me. It's like that will take you out of the movie. Like, there's no excuse for like Phoenix didn't feel bad. I'm just saying, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I would think that you wouldn't even have to ask somebody to do that they would just do it. Like, he had to have had some kind of deep dive into research of the character at some point, you know. And then of course, and then there's the thing that maybe they're able to execute this with shooting him, but it's like Napoleon was a short little turd, and Joaquin.
That's the best. That's the biggest. The biggest thing I see Napoleon is he was just like little fucking roly poly,
Yeah.
and Joaquin does not look like that in the movie.
Also, Napoleon is pretty long too, right? It's like what, 2 hours and something.
Yeah, I believe it's like
I know I
hour
read
and 58 minutes. I mean 158 minutes.
Oh, okay. I read that there's a Apple Plus is going to be supposedly releasing a 4-hour cut of the
Jesus
of the movie.
Maybe in that cut we'll get his accent.
Yeah, he gets it like eventually. Oh man. Did you have any final thoughts on Past Lives besides telling everybody to go watch it, go stream it? It's available on demand. Like you said at the top of the show, that you think that it's kind of flying under the radar, maybe getting buried by other bigger stuff, but go seek this out because it's worth your time.
Yes. Yes, all of that. I think I've already spoken my piece on it.
Do you want to know what we're going to be talking about for our end of November Chris Pollock episode?
Yes.
So,
I do.
We're taking it back to 1999 with Martin Scorsese's Bringing Out the Dead.
Interesting. That's a movie no one fucking talks about.
Yeah, which is fucking weird because it's amazing. It's got a dynamite cast. You know, you got Nicolas Cage rage caging all over the screen. It's from one of the best years in cinema. Don't at me.
99. Was that Good Will Hunting or 98?
I'll fact check that, but I think it's 98.
What else came out in 99?
Oh, Goodwill is 97.
Oh, fuck.
Office Space, Big Daddy, Cruel Intentions, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Iron Giant, Existence, American Beauty, Broke Down Palace, Go, Eyes Wide Shut, Teaching Mrs. Tingle, Fight Club, 8mm, Stir of Echoes, Summer of Sam, Jawbreaker.
10 Things I Hate About You too, 99?
Yeah.
God damn, you might be right. The Matrix, Mummy, Jesus Christ. All right, you might be right. Sixth Sense,
Magnolia.
Fuck. Three Kings?
Told you. Toy Story 2, The Green Mile. Your favorite, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
October Sky? That's a good movie.
It is. That's fucking vintage Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Idle Hands? What?
Told you.
God damn it.
It just goes on and on and on.
Oh, okay. Fucking Blast from the Past. Yeah, 99 was fucking golden.
But yeah, Bringing Out the Dead, Chris Pollock's end of the month takeover. It's going to be awesome to dive into this. It doesn't get enough love, and it really should. Scott co-starring Patricia Arquette, John Goodman, amongst so many others. It might be Scorsese's most criminally underrated film, where people don't even associate him with this or are unaware that he even did it. And it's definitely among, I think, some of his best work outside of the gangster stuff, of course, which I think he's really known for. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. Ryan, thank you for picking this movie, and welcome back to the show. This is Drop the Mic, and I'm Wesley Swanson. He's Ryan Jimenez, and we're signing off, saying good fight and good night.
The guy flew 13 hours to be here. I'm not going to tell you that you can't see him or something.
만약에 네가 한국을 떠나지 않았다면 내가 널 찾았을까? 우리가 사귀었을까? 헤어졌을까? 부부가 됐을까? 아이들을 가졌을까?
너는 나를 왜 찾았어?
한 번 더 보고 싶었어.
If two strangers walk by each other in the street and their clothes accidentally brush, that means there have been 8,000 layers of inyan between them.
Want you to stay.